Listen, I want to share something with you that might sound absolutely crazy at first. You're going to think, there's no way 7 days can change your life. But let me tell you something, it's not about the 7 days. It's about the decision you make in one moment that shifts everything that comes after. You know what I've discovered after working with millions of people across this planet? Most folks are waiting. They're waiting for the right moment, the right circumstances, the perfect plan. And while they're waiting, years are passing by. Years. I was there too. I remember lying on the floor of my 400 square foot bachelor apartment, broke, overweight, absolutely frustrated with where my life was. And I made a decision in that moment, not to change everything, but to change one thing. And that one thing created a ripple effect that transformed everything else. So let me ask you right now, and I want you to really feel this question. What would it mean to you if just 1 week from today you felt completely different? Not just thinking differently, but feeling different, more alive, more certain, more in control of your destiny. That's what we're talking about today. 5 habits, 7 days, 1 life-changing decision. Let's go. Habit 1. Raise your standards and commit to 1 shift. Here's what most people don't understand about change. They think they need more information, more knowledge, another book, another seminar, another podcast episode. But you don't have a knowledge problem. You have a standards problem. Let me explain what I mean by that. Your life right now is a reflection of your standards, not your goals. You can say you want to be healthy, but if your standard is eating garbage food whenever you feel stressed, guess what wins? Your standard. Every single time. When I was ready to transform my life, I didn't set a goal to change 10 things. I raised my standard in one area. I said, I will not go another day accepting this version of myself. Not, I want to change. Not, I hope things get better. I drew a line in the sand and said, this ends now. You want to know why 1 habit works better than 10? Because when you scatter your energy, you scatter your results. But when you focus that energy like a laser beam on one area, you create momentum. And momentum is everything. Think about it. Every massive success story you've ever heard started with 1 shift, 1 decision, 1 commitment that the person absolutely refused to break. I worked with a guy who wanted to lose 100 pounds, get his business profitable, fix his marriage, and reconnect with his kids, all at once. You know what happened? He was overwhelmed within 48 hours, gave up completely. But when I said, pick 1, just 1 area where if you made progress, it would give you the confidence to tackle everything else. Everything changed. He chose his health, lost 10 pounds in that first week. And you know what that 10 pounds did? It gave him the belief that he could change. That belief bled into his business. That business success improved his confidence. That confidence improved his marriage. 1 domino knocked down all the others. So here's what you need to do right now. Stop trying to change your whole life. Pick 1 area, 1 habit, something so clear, so specific that there's no confusion about whether you did it or not. Maybe it's this: I will move my body for 20 minutes every single day. Or this: I will write for 15 minutes first thing in the morning. Or this: I will not check my phone for the first hour after I wake up. Make it binary, yes or no, did it or didn't, no gray area. And here's the key, you're not picking this habit to be perfect. You're picking it to prove something to yourself, that you are the kind of person who honors their word. When you start keeping promises to yourself, even small ones, your entire identity begins to shift. You stop saying, I'm trying to change. You start saying, I'm someone who follows through. That's where power lives. Habit 2, master the momentum of micro-commitments. Let me tell you something about how your brain works. Your brain is designed to protect you from pain and move you toward pleasure. That's it. That's the operating system. So when you try to make massive changes all at once, your brain sees that as pain. It resists. It fights back. It says, this is uncomfortable. This is too much. Let's go back to what's familiar. But here's the beautiful thing. Your brain can't resist something that feels too small to matter. That's the secret behind micro-commitments. You're not trying to overhaul your life in 1 day. You're stacking small wins, one on top of the other, until you look back and realize you've built something incredible. I learned this from watching elite performers. They don't think about the championship. They think about the rep, the single rep right in front of them. 1 more push-up, 1 more sales call, 1 more page, and they do that rep so many times that excellence becomes automatic. You've heard the phrase, fake it till you make it, right? That's garbage. You don't fake anything. You do the small thing until the small thing becomes who you are. Think about a guy who commits to doing 10 push-ups every morning. Just 10. Seems insignificant, right? But after 7 days, he's done 70 push-ups. After a month, he's done 300. And something magical happens. His identity shifts. He's no longer someone who should work out. He's someone who works out, period. I'll give you a real example. There's a comedian who became one of the most successful in the world, not because he was the funniest person on day one, but because he committed to writing one joke every single day. He'd mark it on a calendar. Day after day, he had a chain of X's, and his only rule was, don't break the chain. That's it. One joke, one action, one commitment. Over months and years, that simple daily action built a career that's made him tens of millions of dollars. So let me ask you, what's your one action? What's the thing you can do every day that's so small, you'd feel ridiculous not doing it? Here's what I want you to understand. Consistency beats intensity every single time. You can work out for 4 hours one day and feel amazing, but if you don't do it again for 2 weeks, what did it accomplish? Nothing. Your body doesn't change from one workout. It changes from 50 workouts, from 100 workouts. Same with your business. Same with your relationships. Same with your mindset. The magic isn't in the massive action. The magic is in the daily action that becomes so automatic you don't even think about it anymore. So here's your move. Identify one micro commitment, something you can do in under 10 minutes, and do it every day for 7 days. Track it, mark it off, build your chain, and watch what happens. Because what you'll discover is that it's not really about the push-ups or the pages or the calls. It's about training yourself to follow through. That's the real skill. And once you have that skill, there's nothing you can't build. Habit 3, guard your state by eliminating distraction. Let me tell you what's stealing your life. It's not your circumstances. It's not your past. It's your focus. Or more specifically, it's your lack of focus. You know what the biggest difference is between people who achieve extraordinary things and people who stay stuck? It's not intelligence. It's not talent. It's not even effort. It's the ability to protect their state. Your state is everything. If you're in a peak state, energized, focused, certain, you'll make great decisions. You'll take massive action. You'll create results. But if you're in a distracted, scattered, reactive state, you'll work all day and accomplish nothing that actually matters. Most people today are living in constant interruption. Ding, buzz, notification, alert. Their attention is being hijacked every 30 seconds, and they wonder why they feel exhausted, anxious, and unproductive. Here's the truth. Every time you let your phone pull your attention away, you're not just losing 30 seconds. You're losing 20 minutes of deep work because your brain needs time to refocus. Let me tell you about someone who figured this out. There's a guy who wrote multiple best-selling books, became a professor at one of the top universities in the world, and built a thriving business. And he doesn't use social media at all. Not because he's a technophobe, but because he realized something critical. Deep, focused work is the most valuable skill in the modern economy. And you can't do deep work if you're constantly distracted. He blocks out huge chunks of time where he's completely unreachable. No email, no phone, just him and the work. And in those blocks, he produces more value than most people produce in a month. That's the power of guarding your state. Now, I'm not saying you need to delete all your apps and move to a cabin in the woods, but I am saying you need to get ruthless about protecting your focus. Because here's what happens when you don't. You spend your whole day reacting, responding, putting out fires. You're busy, but you're not building. You're moving, but you're not making progress. And at the end of the week, you look around and think, where did the time go? What did I actually accomplish? That's not living. That's surviving. So let's fix it. Step 1, identify your biggest distraction. Is it your phone, social media, email, the news, people who drain your energy? Whatever it is, name it. Step 2, create a daily focus block. This is non-negotiable time. 30 minutes minimum, ideally an hour or 2. During this block, you are unavailable. Phone off, door closed, no interruptions. And here's what you do during that time. You work on the one thing that will actually move your life forward. Not busy work, not emails, the thing that matters. Maybe it's building your business. Maybe it's working on your health. Maybe it's writing that book you've been putting off. Whatever it is, you give it your complete, undivided attention. Let me tell you what happens when you do this consistently. Your brain starts to rewire. You train yourself to focus, and that focus becomes your competitive advantage. While everyone else is scattered, you're laser focused. While everyone else is distracted, you're creating. And over time, you'll accomplish more in those focused hours than most people accomplish in entire weeks. Here's your challenge. Create one focus block today, right now. Put it in your calendar. Protect it like your life depends on it. Because honestly, the life you want absolutely depends on it. Habit 4, honor your body or lose everything. I'm going to be direct with you about something, and I need you to really hear this. Your body is not separate from your success. Your body is your success. Let me say that again. Your body is not a side project. It's the foundation of everything you want to create. You know what I see all the time? People grinding themselves into the ground, working 16-hour days, skipping meals, running on caffeine and adrenaline, sleeping 4 hours a night, and they think they're being productive. They think they're hustling, but here's what's really happening. They're destroying the very tool they need to create the life they want. You cannot separate your physical state from your mental state. It's impossible. When your body is exhausted, your mind is foggy. When your mind is foggy, you make terrible decisions. When you make terrible decisions, you sabotage your future. I learned this the hard way. There was a time in my life when I was pushing so hard, doing back-to-back seminars, traveling constantly, running on empty, and I thought I was invincible, until my body forced me to stop. You don't want to wait for that moment. You don't want to wait until you collapse, until you get sick, until your body literally shuts down to pay attention. Let me tell you about someone who figured this out at the peak of her success. She was building a media empire, working around the clock, thinking sleep was for the weak, until one day she collapsed at her desk, passed out from exhaustion. That moment changed everything for her. She realized that no amount of success was worth sacrificing her health. She started prioritizing sleep. She started moving her body. She started treating her health like the non-negotiable foundation of her life. And you know what? Her business didn't suffer. It thrived because she showed up sharper, more creative, more energized. Here's what most people don't understand. Taking care of your body isn't taking time away from your goals. It's creating the energy you need to achieve them. When you move your body, you're not just getting in shape, you're changing your biochemistry. You're releasing endorphins, you're reducing cortisol, you're literally rewiring your brain for confidence, clarity, and certainty. When you fuel your body with real food instead of garbage, you're not just eating healthy. You're giving your brain the nutrients it needs to think clearly, make good decisions, and maintain peak performance. When you sleep 7-8 hours, you're not being lazy. You're allowing your body to repair, your mind to consolidate learning, your nervous system to reset. This is not optional. This is not something you do when you have time. This is the first thing you do. Because without energy, nothing else matters. So let's get practical. Here's what you commit to for the next 7 days. Move your body for 20 minutes every day. I don't care if it's a walk, push-ups, squats, yoga, dancing, just move. Get your heart rate up, break a sweat, wake up your physiology, drink more water, half your body weight in ounces every day. Your brain is 75% water. If you're dehydrated, you're operating at half capacity. Eat real food. Cut out the processed garbage. If it comes in a package with 20 ingredients you can't pronounce, it's not food. Eat things that grew or walked. Your body knows what to do with real food. Protect your sleep. 7 hours minimum. No screens an hour before bed. Cool, dark room. Make sleep sacred. That's it. 4 simple things. But if you do them consistently, you'll feel the difference in 48 hours. And here's what happens when you take care of your body. You send yourself a message. You tell yourself, I matter, my health matters, my energy matters. That message changes everything. Because when you show up for yourself physically, you start showing up for yourself in every other area of life. You stop tolerating mediocrity, you stop accepting low standards, you become someone who values themselves enough to do what it takes. So ask yourself right now, am I treating my body like the high-performance machine it is, or am I running it into the ground? Be honest, and then make a different choice, starting today. Habit 5. Build unshakable confidence through evidence. Let me tell you the secret to confidence that nobody talks about. Confidence doesn't come from affirmations. It doesn't come from positive thinking. It doesn't come from telling yourself you're amazing when you don't believe it. Real confidence comes from evidence. It comes from doing what you said you would do, especially when you didn't feel like it. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. It comes from building a track record of follow-through. That's why tracking your progress is absolutely critical. You know what most people do? They work hard, they make progress, and then they completely forget about it. They focus on what they haven't done yet. They beat themselves up over what's still incomplete. They ignore the wins they're actually creating, and then they wonder why they have no momentum. They wonder why they feel stuck. Let me tell you something. What gets measured gets improved. What gets celebrated gets repeated. If you're not tracking your wins, you're robbing yourself of the fuel you need to keep going. I learned this from studying history. There's a founding father who created a system to track his personal development. He identified 13 character traits he wanted to develop, things like discipline, temperance, humility. Every single day, he'd mark whether he'd lived up to those standards. He reviewed his progress weekly. That simple system of tracking and reflecting helped him become one of the most influential people in human history. Why? Because he created evidence. He built proof that he was growing, and that proof fueled more growth. This is how champions think. They don't just work hard and hope for results. They document their progress, they keep score, they create a record of their wins, and on the days when they don't feel motivated, when doubt creeps in, when they want to quit, they look at that record and say, I've come too far to stop now. That's the power of tracking. Here's what I want you to do. Get a notebook, open a note on your phone, or use a simple calendar. Every single day for the next 7 days, write down one thing you did that moved you forward. It doesn't have to be huge, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be real. Did you work out? Write it down. Did you resist scrolling and focus on your work? Write it down. Did you eat a healthy meal instead of junk food? Write it down. Did you have a difficult conversation you'd been avoiding? Write it down. Did you wake up early? Write it down. Every single win, no matter how small, gets documented. And here's what happens. After 7 days, you'll look back at that list and realize something powerful. You're not the same person you were a week ago. You've been growing. You've been showing up. You've been following through. That realization will transform how you see yourself. You'll stop identifying as someone who tries to change and start identifying as someone who does change. You'll stop seeing yourself as someone who struggles and start seeing yourself as someone who succeeds. And that identity shift is everything. Because we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our identity. Let me give you one more thing to think about. Nobody's going to give you a standing ovation for waking up early. Nobody's going to throw you a parade for doing your push-ups. The world isn't paying attention to your daily discipline, but you need to pay attention to it. You need to honor it. You need to celebrate it. Because those small, unsexy daily actions, those are the building blocks of greatness. So track them, review them, let them remind you that you're not just trying, you're doing. You're not just dreaming, you're building. And when you build that evidence, day after day, you create unshakable confidence. The kind of confidence that doesn't come from external validation. The kind that comes from knowing deep in your bones that you are the kind of person who follows through. That's real power. The truth about transformation. Okay, let's bring this home. You've heard 5 habits, 5 commitments, 5 shifts you can make starting right now. That will change everything. Let me recap them for you. Habit 1. Raise your standards and commit to one shift. Stop trying to change everything. Pick one area, one habit, and make it non-negotiable. Habit 2. Master the momentum of micro-commitments. Small actions done daily create massive results. Consistency beats intensity. Habit 3. Guard your state by eliminating distraction. Your focus is your power. Protect it fiercely. Habit 4. Honor your body or lose everything. Your health is the foundation. Without energy, nothing else matters. Habit 5. Build unshakable confidence through evidence. Track your wins, document your progress, create proof that you're growing. Now let me ask you something, and I want you to really feel this question. What would your life look like 7 days from now if you actually did this? Not if you thought about it, not if you planned it, if you lived it. What would be different? How would you feel? Would you have more energy, more confidence, more clarity about who you're becoming? You already know the answer. Here's what I've learned after decades of studying human behavior. Most people fail not because they don't know what to do, but because they don't do what they know. They consume information, but they don't take action. They get inspired, but they don't get moving. They make promises on Monday that they've forgotten by Wednesday, and then they wonder why their life never changes. But you're different. You wouldn't have read this far if you weren't ready for something more. So let me challenge you. Give yourself 1 week, just 7 days. Don't commit to a year. Don't commit to a lifetime. Commit to 1 week. Pick your habit. Do your micro commitments. Protect your focus. Take care of your body. Track your wins. And then at the end of that week, ask yourself, how do I feel? Am I stronger? Am I more certain? Am I proud of who I was this week? I promise you, if you give yourself fully to these 7 days, you won't just feel different. You'll be different. And that difference will compound because confidence creates momentum. Momentum creates results. Results create belief. And belief creates an unstoppable future. You don't need more time. You don't need better circumstances. You don't need to wait until you're ready. You need to make a decision right now that you are done accepting anything less than what you're capable of. The life you want is on the other side of your commitment. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep waiting, keep hoping, keep wishing things were different? Or are you going to step up, show up, and prove to yourself what you're really made of? I already know what you're capable of. The question is, do you? Take the next 7 days, make them count, and then come back and tell me I was wrong. I'll be waiting. Now go.